1. Introduction. My name is Linda. I am 26 years old. Last week I got a letter. It was a nice envelope. I opened it and saw a wedding invitation inside. It was from my ex-boyfriend, Paul. He was getting married. I sat down on the sofa. I felt a strange feeling. Paul and I were together for 3 years. We lived together. Then, one day, he just said he wanted to break up. He did not tell me why. He just packed his things and left. It made me very sad. It took me a long time to feel happy again after he left. Now, he was marrying Fiona. I knew Fiona. She is one of my clients. I work as a stylist. I help people choose clothes. Fiona has a lot of money, and she buys many clothes from me. About 1 year ago, Fiona needed someone to go to a party with her. She asked me if I knew a nice man. I thought of Paul. He was very charming. So I introduced Paul to Fiona. I did not think they would start a relationship. And I did not know that Paul was seeing Fiona secretly when he was still with me. He was not honest. He was with her before he left me. That is why he broke up with me. He never told me the truth, but I found out later. So I wondered, why did they invite me to their wedding? Why did Fiona want me there when I was Paul's girlfriend before her and I introduced them? I could not understand it. It felt very strange. But Fiona is a very important client for my business. I need her to keep buying clothes. I need the money. I felt that I had to go to the wedding. It was not a choice. I took a deep breath. I knew going to Paul and Fiona's wedding would be very difficult for me. 2. A bad start. The wedding day came. It was a Saturday, and the sun was shining brightly. I woke up feeling a mix of emotions. I needed to go, but I didn't really want to go. Still, I had to prepare myself. I took my best blue dress from the closet. It was a nice dress that made me feel confident. I put it on carefully. Then, I spent time doing my hair and putting on makeup. I looked in the mirror. I looked okay on the outside, but inside, I felt very nervous. My stomach felt strange, full of little flying things like butterflies. The wedding was not close by. It was planned at a big, fancy hotel located in the countryside. This meant I had a long drive ahead of me. My car is quite old, but it usually works without problems. I got into my car and started the engine. It sounded normal. I started driving and put on some music to help me relax and think about other things. I drove for about 1 hour. The road was quiet, with green fields on both sides. There were trees and grass, but no houses or shops nearby. Suddenly, my car started to make a funny noise. Clunk, clunk, clunk. It was a worrying sound. Oh no, I thought. Not now, please. The car started to go slower. I pressed the gas pedal, but it didn't help. Then the car stopped completely. Silence. I tried to start the engine again. I turned the key, but nothing happened. Just silence. I tried a second time, still nothing. I felt a wave of panic. I got out of the car to look. I opened the front part where the engine is. I looked at the metal parts and wires, but I didn't understand anything about cars. I felt helpless and alone on the quiet road. My eyes started to feel wet. I felt like crying. I was stuck. The wedding was happening soon, and I was here in the middle of nowhere. I was going to be very late, or maybe I would miss the whole thing. A part of me almost felt happy about this. Maybe this was a sign that I shouldn't go. But then I remembered why I had to go. Fiona was a very important client for my job. I needed to be there for her. I needed her business. I couldn't just miss her wedding. Feeling stranded and upset, I looked down the road, hoping to see another car. After a few minutes, I saw something in the distance. It was a car, and it was coming towards me. As it got closer, I saw it was a big, black, shiny car. It slowed down as it reached my broken car. Then it stopped right beside me. 3, a kind man. My car was broken on the quiet country road. I felt very upset and alone. Then I saw a car coming towards me. It was a very big car, black and shiny in the sun. It slowed down and stopped right beside my car. A man got out. He looked very kind. He was an older man, perhaps in his 50s, but he looked strong and well-dressed. He wore a very nice suit. "Do you need some help?" he asked me. His voice was calm and friendly. "Yes, please," I said. "My car has stopped working and I don't know what to do." He came over and looked at my car's engine. He looked carefully for a few minutes. Then he closed the car's front and turned to me. "I think this is a big problem," he said gently. "It looks like you will need a mechanic to fix it properly." I felt very disappointed and my shoulders dropped. "Oh dear," I said again. "Please don't worry too much," he said with a kind smile. "I have my phone. I can call a tow truck for you right now." He then asked me, "Where were you trying to go today?" I told him I was going to a wedding. It's at the Grand Oak Hotel. He looked a little surprised, and his eyes seemed to open wider for a moment. "That is quite a coincidence," he said. "I am going to that wedding too." "Oh, really?" I asked. It was quite surprising to meet someone going to the same place, especially on this quiet road. "Yes," he said, "but you look very stressed right now. The wedding does not start immediately." I was planning to get a quick meal before I arrive. There is a nice small place just a short drive from here. "Why don't you come with me? We can call the tow truck when we are at the restaurant, and you can relax and eat something." He was a complete stranger, but he seemed very genuine and kind. And honestly, I was hungry, and the idea of sitting in a warm restaurant and having some food was much better than standing by my broken car feeling sad. I also felt a little bit intrigued by this kind man. "Okay," I said. "Thank you very much. That sounds like a wonderful idea." "Excellent," he said. "My name is David, by the way." "And I am Linda," I replied. He walked back to his big black car and opened the door for me. The inside of his car was very luxurious and comfortable. We drove for about 10 minutes down the road. We went to a small, pretty restaurant. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. Meeting this kind man had completely changed my bad morning. I was no longer stranded and alone. For a nice meal. We drove in David's big black car. It was very comfortable inside. Soon, we arrived at a small restaurant. It looked pretty from the outside. Inside, it was cozy and warm. We sat at a table next to a window. It was nice to sit down after the problems with my car. David was very easy to talk to. He asked me about my job. I told him I was a stylist. I told him about the clothes I chose for people. I did not mention Fiona. He listened well. He smiled a lot. David said he worked in business. He did not say what kind of business. We talked about many things. He asked me questions, and I asked him questions. He made me laugh. I felt comfortable with him. His eyes were kind, and his smile was warm. For a little while, I forgot about my broken car. I forgot about Paul and the wedding. I felt happy. It was a nice feeling. My stomach felt different now. Not nervous butterflies, but happy butterflies. We looked at the menu and ordered food. I chose pasta, and David ordered a steak. The food came quickly. It looked good, and it tasted delicious. We ate and continued talking. While we were eating, David said, "So you are going to Paul and Fiona's wedding?" I said yes. I told him again that Fiona was a client of mine. David nodded. "Ah, I see," he said. "Fiona is a lovely girl." I was a little surprised. "You know her?" I asked. He smiled a small smile. "Yes," he said, "you could say that." After we finished our meal, David looked at his watch. "We should go soon if we don't want to be late for the wedding," he said. "My car is just outside. I can drive you." I felt very thankful. "Are you sure? Is it not too much trouble?" I asked. He smiled again. "No trouble at all, Linda. It is a pleasure," he said. His smile made my face feel a little warm. We stood up and left the cozy restaurant. We got into his big, comfortable car again. We started driving towards the Grand Oak Hotel. I felt much, much better now. 5, the wedding party. We arrived at the Grand Oak Hotel. It was very big and looked important. Many cars were there. David gave his car keys to a man in a uniform. We walked into the hotel together. The place was beautiful inside. There were many flowers everywhere in different colors. Soft music was playing. Lots of people were walking around. They were wearing beautiful dresses and nice suits. It felt like a very special party. Inside the entrance, there was a big board. It had a list of all the guests and their table numbers. I needed to find my name. I looked down the list. My name is Linda Bell. I found it. Linda Bell, table number 18. I looked around the large room. There were many tables. Table 18 was in the far back corner. It was near a door that looked like it went to the kitchens. It was the table furthest away from the main part of the room. I felt a bit sad. It was clear. Paul and Fiona did not really want me at their wedding. They invited me, but they put me in a corner far away from everyone. It felt like they wanted to hide me. David looked at the board with me. He saw my table number. His eyebrows went up a little. "Table 18?" he said quietly. "That doesn't seem right." Before I could say anything, David walked away from the board. He went to a woman who was standing nearby. She had papers in her hand and looked busy. She looked like she was helping with the wedding. David spoke to her very quietly. I could not hear what he said. The woman listened to David. She nodded her head fast. She looked a little bit nervous. Then the woman came over to me. She smiled, but she looked a little worried. "Miss Bell," she said, "I am so sorry. There was a small mistake with the tables. Your table is not 18. You are actually at table 2. Table 2? I looked at the board again. Table 2 was right at the front. It was very close to the main table where Paul and Fiona would sit. It was near the dance floor too. This was a very important table, not a table in the back corner. I was very surprised. "Oh," I said. I did not know what else to say. "Thank you." David smiled at me. It was a warm smile. "That is much better," he said. He held out his arm for me. "Shall we go to our table?" I was still a little bit shocked. My head felt a bit dazed. I took his arm. Who was this man, David? How could he just ask for my table to be changed, and changed to table 2? He seemed to have a lot of power here. I walked with him towards the front of the room, wondering about him. 6, the first dance. We sat at table 2. This table was right at the front. It was a very good place to see everything in the room. The room was large and filled with people. The music was nice and soft. Soon, the bride and groom came into the room. It was Fiona and Paul. Fiona wore a beautiful white dress. She looked very pretty. Paul wore a nice suit. He looked handsome. They walked together to the middle of the room. They smiled at each other. The music changed. It became a slow song. It was time for their first dance as husband and wife. They started to dance slowly. They held each other close. It looked very romantic. I watched them. I felt a small pain inside my chest. It was strange to see Paul dancing with someone else, especially Fiona. But then I looked at David, who was sitting next to me. He looked at me and gave me a kind smile. His look made me feel better. After their slow dance, the music changed again. It became faster. More people started to come onto the dance floor. They wanted to dance too. David turned to me. He looked at me with his kind eyes. "Linda," he said, "would you like to dance with me?" I thought for a moment. Paul was right there watching, but David was asking me. He had been so kind. "Yes," I said, "I would love to dance." David stood up and offered me his hand. I took it and he led me to the dance floor. We started to dance. David was a good dancer. He moved easily and I followed him. It felt good to move. I felt happy. I felt very light, like I could float. It was a strange feeling to be so happy at Paul's wedding. We danced for some time. We danced to a few different songs. As we danced, I started to notice people looking at us. Many people in the room were watching David and me. Some people were talking softly to each other. Then I saw Paul. He was looking at us. He did not look happy at all. He looked confused and a little angry. I also saw Fiona. She was looking at us too. She looked very surprised. But I did not let it bother me. I did not care what Paul or Fiona thought. I was having a good time. I was enjoying dancing with David. He made me feel special and happy. For a little while, I forgot about why I was there. I forgot about Paul leaving me. I forgot about the past. I was just in that moment, dancing with David, feeling good. 7, a big surprise. We returned to our table after we danced. We were laughing about something small and happy. Suddenly, Fiona came walking quickly towards us. She did not look happy or calm. She looked a little worried and surprised. "Dad," she said loudly to David, "you are finally here. I was wondering where you were during the ceremony and dinner. Oh, I see you have met Linda. Linda is my personal stylist, the one I told you about." My body froze. My mouth opened in complete shock. Dad, David was Fiona's father. The very rich Mr. Harrison she sometimes spoke about. The man who owned a very big company. I felt the blood leave my face. I felt pale and weak. Everything suddenly became clear. This explained his expensive, big car, why he had influence to change my table, and how he knew Fiona so well. I felt like the solid floor was suddenly not there under my feet. David smiled a wide smile. It was a charming smile with a little bit of fun in his eyes. He stood up from the table. "Yes, Fiona, my dear," he said, his voice calm. "I have indeed met Linda, and I must tell you she is absolutely wonderful." Just at that moment, Paul came walking quickly over to our table too. He looked very annoyed and confused. "Fiona, what is happening here?" he asked her sharply. He looked from me to David and back again. "How do you two know each other so well, and why are you sitting together?" David kept his smile. He put his arm gently around my waist. He looked directly at Paul, his eyes steady. Then he looked at me, his eyes sparkling with a new idea. "Paul, isn't it?" he said, his voice still calm but now very strong and clear. "I think I have just met the woman I am going to fall in love with." And then, right there, in front of everyone at the wedding reception, in front of Paul, in front of Fiona, in front of all the surprised wedding guests, David leaned down towards me. He kissed me. It was not a quick or small kiss. It was a proper, big, very surprising kiss. The large room became completely silent. For a moment, no one moved or spoke. Then people started to make sounds of surprise like gasps. Fiona's face became very white. She looked totally shocked and very, very angry. Paul's face turned bright red. He started to shout loudly. "What do you think you are doing?" he yelled at David. "That is." He looked like he was going to explode with anger. 8. A new start. After David kissed me, the room became very quiet for a second. Then many people gasped. Fiona looked very shocked and very angry. Paul's face turned bright red with anger. He shouted loudly and quickly moved towards David. "Get your hands off her," he yelled again. David stood strong and calmly put me gently behind him, away from Paul. Staff from the hotel and some guests rushed forward quickly to stop Paul from reaching David. People were shouting loudly. Fiona started to cry loudly. It was a complete mess. The beautiful wedding party stopped completely. The music was quiet now. Many people started to leave the room because of the noise and fighting. Amidst all the noise and confusion, David took my hand firmly. "Let's go, Linda," he said calmly. He led me out of the big hotel. My head felt like it was spinning around and around. Everything that happened felt unreal and very fast. In the next few days, the wedding was officially canceled. Fiona was very, very angry. She was angry with her father, David, and she was also very angry with me. It caused many problems in their family. David and I started to spend time together often. He was very kind, very funny, and he treated me wonderfully, like a queen. I started to feel strong, positive feelings for him. I was falling for him, too. It was strange because it was so unexpected, but it felt very good and very right for both of us. Paul was absolutely furious about everything. He called me many times every day. He shouted at me loudly, and sometimes he cried. He said I ruined his life and his wedding day. He could not understand at all why I was now with Fiona's father. He kept calling and calling. One evening, Paul was shouting at me on the phone again, saying terrible things. David took the phone from my hand quietly. His voice was calm, but it was also very strong and serious. "Paul," David said clearly, "listen to me carefully now. You will stop calling Linda immediately. You will stop bothering her. And you will stay away from my daughter too, until she decides if she ever wants to see you. Your relationship with Fiona is completely finished. You need to accept this now. If you contact Linda again, you will have to deal with me directly." Paul did not say anything for a moment. Then he ended the call quickly. He never called me again after that night. Life is very surprising sometimes. I went to my ex-boyfriend's wedding feeling sad and confused about my past. I left that day with a new love, a lot of unexpected drama, but also a new future I never imagined possible. David made sure my old car was fixed completely. He said it was important because the car breaking down that day brought us together. Sometimes, when something bad happens, it can lead to a surprising and happy new start.